owners. Great. How many of you are profitable small business owners? How do you define small business? I define small business as 50,000 of after-tax earnings to 5 million. So, anybody in that range? 50,000 to 5 million? Okay. Cool. We'll be talking about small business in a second. Let me first talk about me a little bit. Started my career as an actuary. Anybody know what an actuary is?
Yes.
So let me tell you a little bit about an actuary. The difference between an actuary and an accountant is an actuary looks at his feet when he talks to you, an accountant looks at your feet when they talk to you. They say an accountant is an actuary with charisma. And you probably heard the one about the two actuaries. They went moose hunting, they get the camouflage gear on, they get their rifles all set, and the first actuary spies a moose, and he shoots, and he misses 5 feet to the left. The second actuary says, I got him, and he shoots and he misses 5 feet to the right. And they give each other a high five and say, on average, we got him. And then this woman goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, I got some really bad news. You got 6 months to live. She says, Doc, is there anything I can do? Anything? The doctor says, one idea. Move to North Dakota and marry an actuary. Why would I do that? He said, because that will be the longest 6 months of your life. Okay, I'm not the typical actuary. In fact, I'm now a prosperity coach. And I teach people how to become financially free so they don't have to work if they don't want to. I teach people about money mindset, about your beliefs and how your beliefs are holding you back from financial freedom. I teach people how to use their intuition. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about beliefs. I teach people about visualizing. We'll also talk about that. And I teach people about investments. Used to be a hedge fund manager. We'll talk about that in a second. I teach people about what is a stock, what is a bond. And in my new book, The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, I have the 5-step stock screen that you can use to invest in stocks. And I also have a 7-step real estate screen. And then I also teach about personal finance, how to improve your credit score, what does financial freedom mean to you, what is your financial freedom number, and so on. So I started my career as an actuary. And I had this dream while I was working as an actuary, not really loving my day, that I really enjoyed picking stocks. In fact, I, as a hobby, would actually calculate the projected earnings for companies by hand. And I'm working as an actuary, and in this one department, they say to me, you have to calculate bond prices, so I have to get on a Bloomberg machine. I don't know, everybody ever hear of Bloomberg? Bloomberg machine? Yeah, so on a Bloomberg machine, you can actually calculate bond prices. But I was on the Bloomberg machine, and I realized, oh my God, I could analyze stocks on this machine. And wouldn't it be great if I could align my hobby and my career? So I called up some actuaries on Wall Street. I said, how'd you get there? What'd you do? And they gave me, they gave me doubt. That's what they gave me. They said, Joel, you're working as an actuary. It's the best job in the country. In fact, in 1993, on the Forbes cover was the actuary as the best job in the country. And then they said, Joel, it just took you 7 years to go through all the exams. Why would you want to change your career? And you're making $110,000 at 27 years old. Well, that was my mom. Why would you want to switch? A lot of doubt. So, hashtag doubt the doubt. Have faith in your dreams and desires. Finally, I found an actuary who said to me, this is what I did to get to where I am. Follow this path. So I did. The next step was I went to Moody's as a credit analyst. And I got trained as a credit analyst because as an investor in insurance companies, you need to know if the rating is going to be downgraded, then the company may not be in existence. The stock's not going to do well. So I got trained to analyze insurance companies, and then a recruiter called me and said, Joel, would you like to be a private equity investor? I'm like, oh my God, that's one step closer to my dream of being a money manager. So I took that job, and within a year, my division was going to get disbanded. But an actuary within the company, Swiss Re, that I was working at the time, said to me, Joel, there's a need for somebody who's an actuary and a credit analyst in this division called credit risk management. I said, that's perfect, so I don't have to go out of the company to look for a job. So he said, there's only one issue. You have to live and work in Zurich, Switzerland. Now you guys don't know this about me, but one of my biggest passions in life is travel. I jumped at the opportunity. It was supposed to be 3 months. A year and a half later, I come back from Switzerland, having visited 30 countries and 40 towns in Switzerland. Still not really being sated with my travel book, but they forced me to come back. So I come back to New York, and I'm like, wait a second. I took a step back as a credit analyst at Swiss Re. I really want to be a money manager. So I started looking. I found a job at a small hedge fund called FSI. I'm one step closer to my dream of being a money manager. And then, a few months later, actually a few years later, a guy at Citigroup, who was my salesperson, calls me and says, Joel, do you want to be a portfolio manager at Citigroup? I'm like, oh my God, my dream job. January 2008. Somebody remember 2008. It was not the best year in the stock market. In fact, the stock market was down 40%. Financial stocks, the only stocks I was managing, they were down 57%. I had a terrible year by my standards, but we were up a few percent. 2009 was a better year. We made 25% that year. And I probably would still be working at Citigroup to this day, but a law was passed that said banks can't own hedge funds. And so in 2012, my whole division was laid off, which actually gave me the kick in the butt to start my own fund. So Solomore Capital, named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan, was my hedge fund that I started in 2013. So 2012, more doubt. I had 2 potential investors come to me and said they're going to give me money to manage. It's all set, my dream. Moved into my office, 54th and Madison. Felt like I'd arrived. I had hired a lawyer, an accountant, fund administrator, an auditor. I even had lined up my first employee for January 1st. It was December 17, 2012. I moved into that office, freshly painted white walls. Everything smelled really great. And within 2 weeks, both of those investors had backed out. Could have given up. This was my dream for 20 years. I was this close. So what did I do? We'll get into that in a few minutes. But as you see, I did start my hedge fund, and then I became a prosperity coach, as I told most of you who arrived earlier. And we'll talk more about that in a second. So let's talk about July 1st, 2015. Managing my own hedge fund for about 2 years. The tears were literally dripping down my face. I was on the Metro North train coming into Manhattan. It's about 7:30 in the morning when I got the news. And I was literally in pain. I was literally feeling so sad and depressed. One of the stocks that I was betting was going to go up was about to get acquired for a 30% premium. And I was in pain because I knew my investors were going to lose a ton of money. It was probably going to be the worst day of my career. So I sat there with those tears rolling down my face, and I said to myself, what can I do to make myself feel differently? And I put on a song, The 5 Stair Steps.
Now, Miss Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Hello, neighbor. Gather your family.
Anybody know this song? Your child? One of my favorites. Changed my mood.
Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
Didn't feel like that second though.
Child, things get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things get brighter.
Someday, things are gonna get brighter. Maybe, but not that day. So, rule number 3 in the 9 money rules millionaires use. Can money buy you happiness? Or can happiness buy you money?
Yes.
So I put on that song as I was rolling into Grand Central Station, and I felt a little bit better, still feeling really sad and upset about to lose. It still hasn't happened yet, right? But about to lose a lot of money for my investors. And I started thinking, okay, as I walked into my new office space on 54th and 6th at the time, what else I could do to get happy. I got into my office and I took the song off my headphones and I put it on speaker so my colleagues could hear, because obviously they knew as much as I did that things were not going to be easier that day. Things were not going to get brighter that day. And I spent a lot of time that day thinking about how I could change my emotions to feel better, because this was 2 years into my hedge fund, and I realized that I was not happy a lot of the time. In fact, as many of you know, if you're a really great investor, you probably make money 55 to 60% of the time. And I'm by no means the best investor in the world, so maybe I was happy and making money 40% of the time, and the punchline is that that was what was happening. So 4 to 10 days I was happy, and 6 out of 10 days I was sad. What a terrible way to live your life. That's called conditional happiness. You're happy because of what's going on in the physical reality as opposed to creating your own happiness. So that hit me like a ton of bricks that day, and I realized how sad I was because of external forces. So what else could I do to change my emotion? And I truly believe that, think about it, if you are happy 24/7, all day, every day, ecstatic, joyous, there'd be more and more things that come into your life to be happy about. It's called the law of attraction, and it's true. So I started listening to uplifting songs. I also recommend affirmations. In fact, on my website, which is SALEURMOR.com, again, named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan, I have 3 affirmations.
Can you repeat that, the website?
Yes, it's SALEURMOR.com. So then I started thinking about affirmations.
What does it take to be a Shimmy dancer?
Not the sad either.
It takes a lot.
This is not just a small little boy saying affirmations, but this is really freaking powerful. Because you can change your life by saying affirmations every morning, which I do and have been doing for a few years now. And it does change your life. So what affirmations can you be doing to change your mindset, to make you happier, to make you feel smarter, to make you do anything? So affirmations, I started doing affirmations in 2015. I also started reading some inspiring books. I have on my website here a list of my favorite books. So you can go on there and get my favorites besides the 9 Money Rules and Mindful Money Management, Infinite Possibilities by Mike Dooley, but there's a whole list here of books that you can take a look at your leisure. Giving, I'll talk about giving a lot more. This is rule number 6 in the 9 Money Rules. I've talked to some of you this morning already about meditation. For me, I started meditating really religiously 3 years ago, but this was the day, July 1st, 2015, that I started thinking about what else can I do to change my mindset to make myself happy. And it's really amazing. People who knew me years ago and the interaction with my former wife say, Joel, you're really Zen-like. You get that call from her now and you're like not responding. You don't call me up with anger and hatred and all those other negative emotions. So you become more Zen-like. I also found myself being much more productive. Before 2015, I would write a monthly letter to my investors, which, by the way, they're all free on my website now if you ever want to look at a financial services, insurance-focused letter by a hedge fund manager to their investors. For some of you, it may be interesting, some of you not. It's there. But I would spend all weekend writing this investor letter every month, 16, 18 hours. And then a few months after I started meditating, I would get these done in 3, 4, 5 hours. I became more productive. I became more observant. In fact, I was jogging around my house for 10 years, and a few months after, July 1st, 2015, I was jogging around my house, and I realized that there was a house that had 3 white columns that looked just like the White House, that I had jogged past every day for 10 years and never noticed. You become more observant, you become more productive, and maybe even more Zen-like. Have fun. I realized that I wasn't truly enjoying every single moment of my day as a hedge fund manager, so do things that you enjoy. Playing ping pong or jogging or hiking, and it doesn't have to cost money, right? Anybody want to put together a list for a minute of some happy habits that you could do that if maybe something happens, you get a text or an email from a colleague that doesn't make you feel so good, what could you do? Maybe write down some inspiring songs or some uplifting songs, or write some affirmations, or maybe go to a passage in a book. I do that sometimes too, just open up a book and just read a paragraph from a book. That's helpful. So let me talk to you about my startup story. I alluded to it a little bit. For those of you who didn't arrive right on time, I was laid off from Citigroup in February 2012, which gave me the kick in the butt to start my own fund, which was my true dream. So what happened? I started going through the process. I hired all the service providers you need. I hired a lawyer, an accountant, an auditor, a fund administrator. Those are the people who calculate the net asset value of the fund, the value of the fund every month. I was about to hire an analyst. I had moved into commercial real estate space on 54th and Madison. I actually was overlooking Madison Avenue, 1 block away, by the way, from one of the most expensive corners in the world, 55th and 5th. I felt like I'd arrived. December 17, 2012, and 2 weeks later, both of those investors who had orally agreed to give me money backed out. I had no pipeline. I was done. I was all set. I was like, okay, I'm good. My dream is a reality. So I could have given up. I could have said, okay, I got this close, but wasn't meant to be. But what did I do? I acted as if we already had the money. I pretended. Pretending's pretty powerful. Anybody ever pretend in their business that something that hasn't happened yet is gonna happen? Do it more. Do it all day, every day. So how did I act as if? On January 1st, I hired the analyst I was gonna hire when I had the money. I said, I'm not gonna pay you until we actually get the money, but do you have confidence in me that it's coming? He said, yes. We started working together. We had morning calls every morning, January of 2013. We actually went to conferences where the companies we were gonna invest in were, and we met with them. And we asked them tough questions. And then we got on calls with the chief financial officers of those companies. Asked them strategy and revenue and expense questions. And we did something even more crazy. Well, I did. I put together a spreadsheet and I calculated our performance, our profit or loss, every day. I said, Sean, we had a really good day today. We made $1 million. Sean, it was really bad. Like, we gotta rejigger the portfolio tomorrow. We acted as if all day, every day. And then, on January 25th, we had a good meeting with a potential investor. 2 months later, we had a signed written agreement as opposed to those oral agreements. And on June 13th, 2013, I started my hedge fund. And I will tell you to this day, by acting as if we had the money, we got the money. So let's talk about visualizing. Anybody know visualizing? You know all 6 steps? Okay, so let's go through the 6 steps. They're really easy, but they're really powerful. So visualizing is to think about what you want to happen. So be consistent. The first step is to write down a time you're going to do it every day. Be consistent. Okay, I'm doing it at 7:30 every morning. Write down where you're going to do it. That's step 2. I'd recommend not doing it in bed right after you get up. You may fall back to sleep. And don't do it right before you go to sleep in bed. So I do it in the living room. I do it right after I do my affirmations and journaling. So that's step 2. Step 3 is write down the amount of time you're going to do it for. No more than 5 minutes. Don't spend 10 hours visualizing. You're going to be really upset about your real life. 3 to 5 minutes. 4th step is before you actually start, write down a minimum of 3 dreams and desires for your business. Where do you want your business to be? Visualize where you're going to be located, or how many employees you're going to have. I visualized how much money I was managing in my hedge fund business. I managed the office that I was sitting in that had no one else in the office overlooking Madison Avenue, completely full of employees, which we eventually did have. It was only me sitting in that office on January 1st, 2013. So that's step 4. Now step 5 and 6 are critical steps. Step 5 is feeling the feeling as if you already had what you want. Wayne Dyer said, make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, in his bestseller, Wish Fulfilled. Make your future dream a present reality by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Imagine you have that big business that you want in some time frame, don't put a deadline on it. Imagine you have that. How great would you feel? How happy would you be? If you could feel that feeling now, it's coming much quicker. Step 6 is a really tough step for me. Step 6 is to see yourself in the dream. Imagine you're looking down. One of my dreams is to do a workshop on the island of Maldives with all of you there on the beach, 87 degrees, no humidity, sun beating down, turquoise water, white sandy beaches, in the background of those huts right over the water with the individual swimming pool and jacuzzi. See if you could picture yourself in that visualization. I have a hard time, but if you could, that'll make it come even quicker. So those are 6 really easy steps. 3 to 5 minutes every day, your dream will come quickly. I'll shift a little bit, and I want to talk about 3 of the 9 money rules. These are 3 big secrets to having more money, to having that big business that you want. Big. B stands for beliefs. I stands for intuition. And G stands for that financial advisor named Goldstein.